Hey everyone, it's Mithrilda. Welcome back to my journey of learning how to draw. So today I sat down to look for my next Gumroad tutorial that I want to review. I wasn't really feeling any of the suggestions I've been given so far, so I went to Gumroad's own search tool to see what kind of stuff was in their marketplace that I didn't know about yet. So here you can see I just really generically typed in learn to draw, and I thought it was really funny that the first few results are for Swift tutorials. I have no idea what kind of keywords they use in order to trigger the search results like this. Anyways, I saw some really interesting stuff from people who actually seem to be like real art teachers as opposed to people who are good at art who wanted to make a tutorial or a lesson for some extra money. And so I felt like that might be interesting to explore. And one that really caught my eye was this Understanding Drawing, a guide from beginner to imagination, principles, levels, skills, traps, and maps. I didn't finish watching the trailer in its entirety, but basically he talks about how different skills build on top of each other, different traps that people get into, because we don't all have to make the same mistakes. He talks about how a lot of us piecemeal our educations together and we learn things out of order, which just makes things harder and sets us back and stuff like that. And he says that he will guide you straight through like the correct order in his experience with 6 years of trying to refine this. This looks so interesting. However, it is $60 or more, which would take up most of my budget, and I would only have around $30 left. And plus, this is like a really long, actual, real art course. And I feel like it would take, maybe 2 months, 3 months, 4 months maybe to cover all of it. And that sounds really cool, but I sort of had this idea for this series that would be more like wide-reaching over like a lot of different creators and lessons. So I'm kind of on the fence about getting this, and I decided to go with something else for now. But I am very interested because in his roadmap, it goes from like observation to imagination. And I'm like, that sounds great. Teach me how to like move through the steps because I still have no idea how that works. That aside, today I'll be looking at Trent Kaniuga's courses on Gumroad. He is a professional concept artist and makes the most amazing work. And I'm sure you've seen him all over YouTube. He's constantly in my suggested videos. And honestly, his videos kind of intimidate me, so I'll look at his thumbnail and be like, oh, that looks so cool. I'm not gonna watch it because it's scary. I really should stop doing that. Anyways, like the course pack that really caught my eye was the Easy Art Lessons 16 through 20, Drawing Faces, because y'all know me, still struggling with drawing those faces. So here's what he says about this course. If you always wanted to learn to draw faces, these are lessons for you. The fundamentals taught in these lessons can be done in pencil and paper or any digital art form. In Easy Art Lessons 16 through 20, you will learn to draw your own characters with realistic proportions or stylized proportions. I've developed the Easy Art Lessons to get straight to the point in step-by-step, real-time lessons that you can follow along with and start making cool characters immediately. Learning to draw doesn't have to be repeating a bunch of frustrating rules. You can enjoy the process and improve with every drawing. Duration, 3 hours. You'll learn how to block out the head and measure features such as eyes, noses, mouths, and ears, angle the head in interesting dynamic ways, how to render features on the face, make characters look older or younger, draw male faces and female faces, draw various ethnicities. I've also included 2 bonus videos with over 1 hour of real-time breakdowns for drawing difficult features like eyes and noses. Note, due to piracy and illegal distribution, all video content is now streaming only. That's interesting. That'll be a little inconvenient for me since I like to do my art practice on my iPad because that's where Procreate is, and my iPad usually doesn't have connection to the internet unless I have Wi-Fi somewhere. But I guess we'll see how that goes. Oh, and I'd also like to make a note that the Gumroad app on Android has really low ratings, so I've never actually tried to use it, but I might have to break it out. Also, I'm excited to be doing this because I am heading home tonight for Thanksgiving break, so that should give me a lot of time to really get into things and practice hard and really try to learn it. All right, let's get into it. Cool, so it looks like we get all the lessons that were listed and also a bonus lesson on how to draw noses and a bonus lesson on how to draw eyes. So starting the tutorial, I like how it takes a very organized approach, starting with constructing the front and side views before moving on to the 3/4 view. He then also gives some examples of the back view and looking up and down as well. I feel like it was very complete and answered a lot of questions in my mind before they could even come up. He encourages us to draw a lot of heads from all sorts of angles and create problems for ourselves that we have to solve. I also thought it was interesting that he starts off with the male face. It's definitely something I don't practice enough, and I'm glad I got a chance to really get into it with this lesson. I think the models he drew were very enlightening, especially with the planes of the face. I'm watching Vinland Saga right now, which has a more realistic anime style, and I couldn't stop seeing the construction in their faces. I think it was really cool being able to reinforce this knowledge while watching anime. Then he immediately goes into stylizing the face and exaggerating, which really shook me. I feel like most teachers say it's something to do after you really master the realistic human proportions and such. He, of course, emphasizes that studying from life and realism is extremely important in making good stylizations. But he says that if stylizations are what you're really after, then do them. It's making things fun that'll keep you going. He emphasizes how you can still do all the construction like a normal human head, but just stretch and squash and emphasize different things until you get something you like, which keeps things believable while allowing you to customize the look and make your own style. This is honestly super freeing to me because now I see how to move from realism to a more stylized form. I feel like so many tutorials and lessons just jump straight from realism to some sort of cartoon style with no steps in between, and I have no idea what to do. Also, they tend to say things like do what feels right, which I have no idea is supposed to mean. I don't know what feels right, which is why I'm trying to learn. I think this was a really supportive approach and it made me comfortable in continuing on. He then goes into how many people's styles start from or are still based on their artistic crutches, and how they might not really know how to draw something, so they call it their style. The thing that shook me is that he said that it's okay. It's totally okay to draw in one specific way and not know enough to draw in any other way, since the style is built on that crutch. He talks about how he knows artists that have done this and become very successful. But all these artists' art improved when they started really refining the styles and ensuring their consistency. He says that consistency is more important than correctness, since in stylization, the most important thing is having all the parts be recognizable in your style. And I quote, "It's not like there's a right or wrong as long as people dig it. As long as it serves the function, it's okay if it's technically incorrect." Then he says that earlier in his career, most of his stylized artwork came to him in dreams. Now, I'm not sure how replicable that technique is, but that's a pretty bomb origin story. His caveat to having a distinctive art style is that if you want to get a job somewhere, you're going to need to have the skill to draw in their art style, which may be hard if you don't actually have those fundamentals down. All of this is from the first 2 videos, then the 3rd video is about rendering and refining the face, which wasn't comprehensive but had enough tips to get me started thinking. I think it's interesting how he values style and story over correctness every time when he's making artistic decisions. The 4th video is about drawing female faces, and I feel like I have a few gripes about it. First of all, he spends the whole time talking about how you construct the head and stuff, but then he draws the female face like he can as a more skilled artist, starting with the eyes and then adding in the features as he goes. I get what he's doing since he's mostly talking about how the features change when they get more feminine, but I would have liked a breakdown of the construction of a female head too. For example, he said that the male jaw was more square and the chin was this blocky shape. That's how he likes to draw it. And the neck extended from right by the ears for a man. But what about a woman? How's the chin different? The jaw? Where does the neck come from? That's the stuff I wish he covered more, but overall, it was full of tips, as usual. The last lesson in the set is drawing features of various ethnicities, which is sort of what the video is about. He does a very few quick tips on African American features and talks about other stuff for the rest of the time over a speed paint of an African American character of his. Again, it doesn't start from the construction, which I would have liked to see. Then there are 2 bonus videos on the nose and eyes. They're from his Trent's Toolbox series, which I think was posted on YouTube originally, where he trains up his own toolbox by doing studies on various subjects. But now I think he's taken those videos down and added them to these lesson packs. He recommends doing 30 minutes of studies a day, say after your day job, and if you do that, you can really build up quite an amount of skill from just that. Doing studies is a great way to both build your visual vocabulary and train your brain to remember visuals better in the future, because you actually get more observant and you can remember things. He says that it's okay not to draw things exactly as they are in the picture, and he exaggerates the eyelashes a bit as he's drawing it. He says it's not the study time where you actually grow, it's the play time. It's finding the fun and messing around and making things the way you want. Overall, I think it was really cool seeing his study and doing the study along with him and hearing his insights about his observations and what he was learning. I tried not to look at what he was doing until I was done with some of it. Then I would look and add to mind the parts of his that I thought were well executed and then keep going. I think the lessons were really packed full of so much information, insight, and encouragement, and I'm so excited to keep drawing. I feel like a lot of things I've been introduced to before didn't really click in my mind until I went through this class, and I feel like the quality was really top-notch. Some things I feel like could have been improved are that there could have been more examples with the head construction method. He introduces it, then he doesn't show us how to use it in the last 2 videos of the lesson pack. Also, it would have been nice to have, say, an image reference for the proportions of the head, the construction method, what the ear looks like, the planes of the face, etc., even if it's just screen caps from the videos. It was a bit inconvenient having to flip through the videos over and over to find the one diagram I was looking for. I suppose I could just make it myself for reference, but it would have been nice to have it included. Final conclusion. This was an excellent buy, definitely exactly what I was looking for in a lesson. I've gained so much confidence in drawing heads from imagination, and they're coming out better than I could have expected. 100% recommend for anyone interested in a course like this. Also, if you haven't seen his YouTube channel, you need to go over there right now. There's so much wild and interesting stuff. So I have $84.44 left in my budget. Should I go for the $60 Volan CK Understanding Drawing course? Should I sign up for something else like Foundation Group, Lowish, or other artists people have recommended? Should I venture off Gumroad into some other types of platforms? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope this helped. Remember that talent is a myth. Now, get back to work.